Hey, we are so excited to be with you to talk about God's way and God's word and the benefit of walking in it, because it is beneficial. So I just want to really encourage you in this short time that we're going to be talking about it. Man, just press in and hear what God really wants for you to have in your life, because that is the most amazing thing about the way God works, is that he wants you to have the very best on this earth, but you got to go for it. I heard, Case, I heard one of our friends use this line, and I got to tell you, I just took it from him, our pal. He said he was teaching on this new day, same devil, and I went, I really like that. New day,
but it's the same devil.
Because it is the truth that the devil doesn't have any new ways to trick us. He just uses the same things over and over and over and over and over. And unfortunately, we humans keep falling for it. So we want to talk about some of that stuff today. And how can we, on this new day that we're living, how do we get tricked and how can we not get tricked? Well, point one. You like this? Because I actually
Let's go.
But what you allow in your life, what you allow to influence you, what you're allowing in your listening to, what you're allowing in what you're watching to, it's amazing what you're allowing in your life, how that influences you. And it says this in Ephesians 4:27. Do you have that, or should I show Ephesians 4:27?
I have it.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, Paul says, do not give place to the devil. And I like one translation there, give no foothold. So we kind of give him an inch and he takes a mile, right? We give him an opportunity, and the next thing you know, we're spinning out of control. We're struggling with depression. We're in financial trouble, whatever it is, marriage problems. Yeah, so don't open the door.
Right.
Because the devil will walk through it.
Right. And he loves it when it's like, it's the thing is about it. There's things that pull all of us into, we want to do certain things. All of us have our own little things, that, we like to watch something, or we like to have conversations about something. The thing about it that is amazing to me is that, gossip, it's amazing what gossip does, because gossip has massive, the influence of gossip in our Instagrams, in our on X, in our Facebook, in all the shows that are on TV, they're all about gossip, the TMX and the magazines that are all on the shelves, and I thought, do people realize what gossip is and what gossip does? The title, New Day, Same Devil. Well, the devil loves it when we humans, we love to talk about, did you hear? Did you know? Not realizing that the depth of kind of that destruction that gossip really is. We talk about a lot of things, but when I think about gossip, I'm like, gossip, it constantly says something that could have, the beginning of gossip could have 50%, 70% truth and 30% trickery, kind of not truth. But then it gets moved and people keep speaking about it. And unfortunately what happens is it leaves the truth and begins to only speak the lie.
Yeah.
And we in our society are full of listening to just gossip, the lie.
There was a day when if it was in the newspaper, it was probably close to true, a little bit of truth.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it can be total AI.
Totally.
Total just lies and gossip. And Paul said, give no place to the devil. Jesus said it like this, a little leaven leavens the whole lump. So it doesn't take much, and pretty soon, you're way off track.
Well, and it brings such destruction. Okay, so you get with your girlfriends and all of a sudden you start talking about another friend.
Right.
And you say something that maybe has, like I said at the beginning, 70% truth, 30% kind of sketchy, right? And then the next time you're with that same friend, you kind of have the same kind of conversation about kind of the same kind of people. And all of a sudden, your emotions turned from, you're kind of talking about it to like, I don't like that person.
Yeah.
I don't like that person. I don't like it.
We may be talking about a real incident, and then we add how we feel about it, and what we think about it, and it could be way off.
And the thing about gossip is it has such a subtlety of pulling us away from truth, pulling us away from, what is truth? Okay, so it says in Galatians, it says, think on these things, okay?
Things that are true,
things that are true.
noble, good report, virtuous, praiseworthy.
Right.
Fix your mind on those things.
Fix it. Okay, so gossip fixes its mind on what? Do you see
The shadow.
The shadows. So it's the subtlety in which the devil loves to work in our life, that we allow ourselves to just kind of like, well, it's no big deal. It's not really a problem. Except the problem is that instead of fixing our mind on thoughtful, kind, gentleness, long-suffering, of joy, peace, instead of fixing our mind on that, we're fixing our mind on, you know what, that person did that, or I think that's true, or I don't really like that person anymore. So we subtly allow our heart to move away from the principles of God to we allow that subtlety of lie to happen in our life. So the thing about it is, same day, the same devil. The devil loves to bring that animosity between us in humanity. He loves to bring division among us in humanity. He loves to bring that, I just don't like that kind of person. I just don't like to be around that person, not realizing that it actually came out of the spirit of listening to a lie through gossip, listening to half-truths and maybe sort of, and I'm not really sure, as opposed to fixing our mind on what is true and lovely and praiseworthy.
Yeah. Well, there's an old joke in the church world. We don't gossip, but we have a lot of prayer requests.
Yeah.
We need to pray for brother so-and-so. He's having problems at home. What? What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Who said that? Is it true? Maybe, maybe not. So yeah, in the Christian world, we find our own way to gossip and spiritualize it.
Yeah. But the thing about it is the thing about those kind of ways of conversations, and I could take, there's different kind, but gossip, I kind of really hone in on that particular word, but it pulls us out of light. It's pulling us into this place. And when you get pulled out of the light of Jesus, when you get pulled out of the pathway of walking in that straight pathway with Jesus, then I believe that that's where all those different emotions also rise up. Lack of peace, lack of joy yourself. So now you're wondering why you have anxiety, why you have separation, why you don't feel great, why you don't feel happy anymore, why you don't feel actually included. Because the thing about gossip, if you are always listening gossip and being in gossip, then actually you're also setting yourself up to never feel safe yourself.
Right.
Because if you're a gossip, then they're gossiping about you too. So you see how the devil constantly breathes into us this insecurity, this anxiety, this separation, and not realizing that it actually comes out of like opening the door to conversations, opening the door to listening to the wrong thing, opening the door to watching the wrong kind of stuff, but buying the magazines of gossip and having those kind of, ooh, it's so interesting. And then also gossip also lends itself to all kinds of evil thoughts, jealousy, competition, anger, because you gossip about stuff that I would actually, many times we're reading gossip because we're like, oh yeah, good. They had a problem in their life because look at how beautiful they are. Well, where does that come from?
2 Corinthians 11, Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. So oftentimes it starts off, we're concerned, we worry about them. Yeah. We hope they're okay. And then the next thing you know, you've just bought into a whole story that's nowhere close to true.
Right. And it causes that whole, just the anxiety of life. I think that aloneness of life, we are creating such an alone society as opposed to a joyful, thoughtful society.
Yeah.
A kind society.
Well, the social media lives on gossip.
Right.
It lives on talking about other people, Doesn't matter if it's true. Could be created by a bot. I mean, it's just, and that's the whole social media world.
Right. You know, and I know, I mean, through my life, through our life, man, oh man, there's been things that have been said about us that I'm like, I really, really wanted to go after. You know, I really wanted to go, are you kidding me?
You get defensive.
Like, you know, I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to, especially, you know, like on Facebook, no, blah, 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 you know, an answer, or at Instagram, no, blah, 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 an answer that, you know, especially when somebody would say something or they would say something, I'm like, no, not even kind of, sort of. But we all want to sometimes, I don't know if we all want to, but maybe I'm just putting you in my boat with me, but I wanted to defend. So I just said, maybe you wanted to always defend. The thing about defending that is that I just have come to a place that I said, you know what, God, you know what? People are going to say what people are going to say. You know, that's reality. And I have to live, and we as a person, you know, I would just encourage that you just have to live true and honorable to the pathway and the principles of God, you know, and then the devil doesn't get to win. You know, he doesn't get to win eventually. Sometimes it feels like you're in the middle of the storm and the waves are crashing over you because the gossip might be around you and you want to defend, you want to fight against it, you want to do all these things. And I have wanted to do all that. I wanted to defend and stuff, but I just decided, you know what? You know, well, some things could be true any which way, because remember, some things do. Some things that people say are,
there's a little truth.
There's a little truth in something, but that's not what I'm going to live. I'm going to live, I mean, I'm going to live in the truth, but I'm going to live where I'm like, well, character wins, and living life for God, that's what wins when we all decide, you know what, I'm not going to give myself to gossip, but I'm not going to defend against gossip. I'm going to live character in God's ways.
Proverbs says, if you answer a fool, you become a fool.
That's good.
So it's the idea that once you get in that conversation, now you're part of it. And you think I'm sorting people out. I'm telling them the truth. Actually, you're just part of the problem.
Yeah.
And so you really have to realize Satan is trying to get you in the wrong conversation.
Right.
Get you in the wrong way of thinking.
Yeah.
Get you going down the wrong path. And then he tricks us.
Right.
You know, we get deceived.
Right.
And the problem is when you're deceived, you don't know you're deceived. And so then you're stuck.
So realistically, when we're talking about, you know, new day, same devil, the devil loves to have us get all stirred up and to get us all defensive and to have us separate from another person. I think that's really important to understand. He wants to bring division. He wants us to talk bad. He wants us to think bad. He wants us to group up into little groups and we talk about something else in a negative fashion. Instead, you know, God, he wants us to have fruits of the Spirit in our life. Galatians 5:22, fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, kindness. It says, against there is no law. That means that God wants us to have an abundance of that. But we can't have an abundance of that when we are constantly watching, listening, and engaging in lies. So we have to be super, super aware and super, super careful. And we just decide, you know what, today, devil, you don't get to win. I'm not going down that pathway. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, but you just have to say, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to stay strong. Hey, we are running out of time. So glad that you've been with us. Renewing the Mind 2.0. This is on Amazon. Pretty easy to get. Just jump on Amazon, get this. With God's grace. And that to me is the most important line, with God's grace. Because you can't stop gossiping without God's grace. You can't overcome without God's grace. That means God's strength, God's favor, God's saying, I'm helping you even though you don't deserve it. Kind of understanding that God's grace is big and that we depend upon God's grace. So we had fun writing this. With God's grace, you can change. And I think with God's grace, we have had the spirit of win. And I am so grateful. And we want to share that. You know, how do you win on this earth? Because times, some can be tough. But with God's grace, renewing the spirit of your mind, we care about how God's working in your life. We just believe that he's doing great things. Join us every single week at this time. We're always talking the word. We're always talking how to live victorious in God. If you haven't accepted Jesus, will you pray with me right now? Just say this: Father, I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I turn from my old ways and I turn to you from this day forward. If you write there in the comments, I accepted Jesus, we would love to send you an ebook called The Journey Right Now. We'll see you next week.